Welcome to our deep dive into the complex relationship between the Competition Commission of India, CCI, and various sectoral regulators. Today, we'll explore how overlapping jurisdictions and operational issues shape the enforcement of competition law in India. From telecom to petroleum, electricity, and aviation, each sector has its own regulator, but competition concerns often require CCI's intervention. Understanding these interfaces is crucial for grasping how regulatory frameworks evolve and how conflicts are resolved. Let's start by identifying the primary concerns when multiple authorities oversee similar issues and why clear frameworks are needed to avoid duplication and ensure efficient resource allocation. When regulatory overlap occurs, several concerns arise. First, it's essential to correctly identify which issues belong to which authority. Misallocation can lead to delays and inefficiency. Second, concerns must be channeled to the right forum for corrective action. Third, frameworks should be established to prevent duplication of effort, conserving resources and limiting each commission's ambit to its core mandate. Finally, capacity building and expertise development are vital at both the competition regulator and sectoral regulator levels. These principles guide the interaction between CCI and other regulators, ensuring that competition issues are addressed promptly and effectively. Telecom Regulatory Authority of India (TRAI) Act 1997 established TRAI and the Telecom Dispute Settlement and Appellate Tribunal (TDSAT) to regulate telecommunications services. Its preamble emphasizes protecting the interests of service providers and consumers, promoting orderly growth and ensuring competition. Section 11 empowers TRAI to recommend measures that facilitate competition and promote efficiency in telecom operations. However, certain monopolistic, restrictive, and unfair trade practices remain under the jurisdiction of the Monopolies and Restrictive Trade Practices Commission, highlighting the need for clear boundaries between sectoral and competition authorities. Section 38 of the TRAI Act clarifies that its provisions supplement those of the Indian Telegraph Act and the Indian Wireless Telegraphy Act. Importantly, nothing in the TRAI Act affects the jurisdiction, powers, and functions of the Telegraph Authority. This ensures that regulatory responsibilities are distributed without undermining existing authorities. Such provisions are designed to prevent conflicts and maintain regulatory harmony, but they also create potential for overlap, especially when competition issues arise in the telecom sector. The case of Consumer Online Foundation v. Tata Sky Limited. Dish TV argued that CCI lacked jurisdiction because TRAI and TDSAT already govern telecom, broadcasting, and cable TV services. However, CCI asserted its authority over competition concerns, stating that any matter raising such issues falls within the Competition Act, 2002. This case illustrates the ongoing debate about jurisdictional boundaries and the importance of CCI's role in addressing anti-competitive practices, even in sectors with specialized regulators. Supreme Court overturned the Competition Appellate Tribunal's order, confirming CCI's jurisdiction to address abuse of dominance by multi-system operators, MSOs, in the cable TV market. Despite sectoral regulations, the court affirmed CCI's exclusive authority to deal with anti-competitive conduct. This landmark decision highlights the coexistence of sectoral and competition regulators, emphasizing that CCI's mandate to protect competition is not excluded by the presence of other authorities. The cable television market, MSOs downlink broadcasters, signals, decrypt channels, and provide bundled feeds to last-mile cable operators, LCOs, who then retransmit signals to subscribers. MSO functions are regulated under the Broadcasting and Cable Interconnection Regulations framed by TRAI. CCI found that a group of MSOs occupied a dominant position in Punjab and Chandigarh, raising competition concern. The MSOs challenged CCI's jurisdiction, arguing that disputes with broadcasters fell under TDSAT. However, the Supreme Court recognized CCI's authority to address competition issues. Supreme Court noted that denial of market access is a broad concept and must be interpreted naturally. Once dominance is established, the source of denial, whether by a competitor or not, is irrelevant. The court recognized that CCI's jurisdiction to protect competition can coexist with sectoral regulators, even if the underlying facts are the same. This principle ensures that competition concerns are addressed without undermining sector-specific expertise. CCI v. Bharti Airtel, the Supreme Court examined whether incumbent operators were obliged to provide points of interconnection POIs to Jio, and whether demands for POIs were reasonable. TRAI was given the first instance to investigate jurisdictional aspects. Once TRAI determined these aspects, CCI could investigate whether concerted agreements or cartelization occurred. The court emphasized the distinct functions of CCI and TRAI, maintaining comity between the regulators and recognizing their complementary roles. Supreme Court concluded that TRAI and CCI functions are not mutually exclusive but complementary. TRAI investigates technical and jurisdictional aspects, while CCI examines anti-competitive practices. CCI's investigation often depends on TRAI's findings, ensuring that competition issues are addressed after technical matters are resolved. This approach promotes regulatory harmony and effective enforcement of competition law. Petroleum and Natural Gas Regulatory Board (PNGRB) Act 2006 established PNGRB to regulate petroleum and natural gas sectors. Efficient fuel choices and interfuel substitution are essential for a competitive environment. However, government control over pricing and dominance of public companies creates structural and policy issues. The Act focuses on transportation tariffs but leaves other pricing elements to the market, resulting in ambiguity and barriers to entry. PNGRB Act's preamble emphasizes protecting consumer interests and promoting competitive markets. Section 11 mandates fair trade and competition among entities, regulating access to pipelines and city gas networks. Sections 20 and 21 guide the board to promote competition, avoid unnecessary investment, and ensure equitable distribution. Transparent pricing mechanisms and rational tariffs are crucial for fostering competition in the sector. Section 2, XI of the PNGRB Act defines restrictive trade practices as those preventing, distorting, or restricting competition. Practices that obstruct capital flow, manipulate prices, or impose unjustified costs on consumers are considered restrictive. The Act borrows this concept from competition law, ensuring that anti-competitive behavior is addressed within the petroleum and natural gas sectors. PNGRB Act focuses primarily on transportation tariffs, leaving other pricing elements ambiguous. The definition of affiliate code of conduct excludes producers, allowing them to undertake marketing and exercise greater market power. Market exclusivity periods can give incumbents an advantage, deterring competition. Transparent and rational pricing mechanisms are needed to address these limitations and promote a level playing field. The case of XYZ v. Indian Oil Corp., the Supreme Court held that conflicts between special statutes must be resolved by reference to their purpose and policy. Both the Electricity Act and Competition Act are special statutes with designated spheres. Sectoral regulators focus on technical aspects, while CCI addresses competition issues. The existence of a sectoral regulator does not exclude CCI's jurisdiction over anti-competitive practices. Alliance Industries' alleged cartelization by IOCL, BPCL, and HPCL for aviation fuel supply. The companies challenged CCI's jurisdiction, claiming the matter belonged to PNGRB. The Delhi High Court issued an interim order excluding CCI despite PNGRB not having exclusive jurisdiction. This case highlights ongoing jurisdictional conflicts and the need for clarity in regulatory mandates. Electricity Act, 2003, consolidates laws relating to generation, transmission, and distribution of electricity. It aims to promote competition, protect consumer interests, and ensure efficient supply. Appropriate commissions can issue directions to licensees abusing dominant positions or entering anti-competitive combinations. The Act's provisions override inconsistent laws, but competition issues remain within CCI's ambit. Indian competition law provides for mutual consultative processes between CCI and sectoral regulators. However, roles are not clearly delineated, leading to potential conflicts. The Electricity Act empowers commissions to address competition concerns, but technical issues remain with sectoral regulators. Harmonious construction of statutes is necessary to resolve conflicts and ensure effective regulation. This case challenged anti-competitive behavior by electricity distribution companies. Discoms argued that only the Delhi Electricity Regulatory Commission (DERC) had jurisdiction. However, DERC stated that competition issues, including abuse of dominance, fall within CCI's jurisdiction, while technical matters remain with DERC. This division of responsibilities ensures both technical and competition concerns are addressed. Zainul Gupta filed a case against TPCL for supply commencement, but Best claimed exclusive territorial jurisdiction. Investigation found Best dominant in Mumbai's electricity market, holding over 99% market share. Best's refusal to permit competitors to lay distribution networks denied market access, highlighting the importance of competition authority intervention in cases of dominance and exclusionary practices. The OMPAT held that the Electricity Act, 2003, overrides the Competition Act in matters of electricity tariff. DHBVN was found dominant, but differential pricing did not amount to abuse. The case was closed, and COMPAT observed that the Electricity Act has its own mechanisms to check abuse of dominance. This highlights the nuanced relationship between sectoral and competition authorities. Supreme Court held that Section 60 of the Competition Act gives it overriding effect in case of conflict with other statutes, considering the country's economic development. This decision reinforces CCI's primacy in competition matters, even when sectoral regulators are involved, ensuring that anti-competitive practices are effectively addressed. HPCL Middle Pipelines v. Gujarat Energy, the appellate tribunal recognized implied immunity from competition law in matters of electricity tariff approved by the appropriate commission. The judgment was limited to tariff matters, emphasizing that sectoral legislation governs generation, transmission, and supply. However, blanket immunity would undermine the purpose of competition law. Supreme Court's guidance in Ashoka Marketing Limited v. Punjab National Bank states that conflicts between special statutes must be resolved by considering their purpose and policy. This principle ensures that both sectoral and competition statutes operate within their designated spheres, promoting regulatory harmony and effective enforcement. India's civil aviation sector is regulated by the Directorate General of Civil Aviation (DGCA), Airports Authority of India (AAI), and Airport Economic Regulatory Authority (AERA). DGCA oversees air transport services and safety, AAI manages infrastructure, and AERA regulates tariffs and performance standards. These authorities coordinate with international bodies like ICAO, ensuring compliance and efficient operation. Civil aviation sector features many consumers but few airlines with significant market share. High-cost barriers to entry, differentiated services, and competitive firms create an oligopolistic market structure. These characteristics influence regulatory policies and competition concerns, making the sector prone to anti-competitive practices and requiring careful oversight. DGCA monitors the industry ex ante. While CCI addresses anti-competitive practices ex post, CCI can investigate and penalize anti-competitive conduct, but cannot reduce structural barriers to entry. Only DGCA can do so. High fixed costs and government regulations fortify entry barriers, ensuring existing players face little new competition. These conflicts highlight the need for coordinated regulatory action. Scheduled service operators must purchase or lease a minimum of 5 aircraft and meet high equity requirements. These rules ensure financial viability but impose heavy burdens on new entrants. Other jurisdictions assess viability without strengthening entry barriers, highlighting the need for balanced regulation that promotes competition. Airport slots are allocated based on historical precedents, benefiting existing airlines. New entrants have access to only 50% of slots and merged entities retain all previous slots. These grandfather clauses make it difficult for new entrants to compete, reinforcing the dominance of established players and limiting market competition. Antitrust immunity granted to airline alliances reduces consumer choices and makes the market less competitive. Regulatory policies implemented by DGCA have led to inefficiencies, making it difficult for CCI to ensure consumer welfare. Addressing these issues requires coordinated action between competition and sectoral regulators.